Morning. Today is Tuesday, June 30th. Welcome to Jupiter in Leo, post full moon. Gorgeous, if you can see it. We'll use the Shadowscapes Tarot today by Stephanie Pui-Mun. Very Cancer season, loves the pastels. So what are the blessed messages here for the collective on Tuesday, June 30th, or for whenever you hear this message is the right time for you? Like, share, subscribe, comment on your experiences with what is offered here. Share this directly with somebody who you feel might need to hear it. That any kind of interaction is the way that the messages just get out there. If you want your own private reading, please direct message me on any of those platforms, and I'm happy to set up a time with you. In the meantime, today, June 30th. First card coming out, the Lovers. Well, loving all that is, even if you don't love it. Taking the me out of the way in order for there to be an us. Combination of divine and feminine in unity. Five of Wands. Final card, Four of Cups. Bottom of the deck, Page of Cups. Again, very much the Mercury in retrograde card in this particular retrograde in Cancer. Knight of Cups is there as well. And the Sun. Lots of things. So that's the underpinning energy, or energy that's coming in on the heels of this. So yes, the Lover's card. Yeah, could be, but this is a major arcana. Since this is a major arcana, it's, it can be the energy of what you see around you, the archetype of what you want to go for, this combination of masculine and feminine that brings together in unity and harmony in love, these higher ideals of love. Yeah, uplifting, like going for, this uplifted ideal. That's the thing I'm noticing about this particular card, the way it's, the artistry is created, is that, there's this upliftment, this higher ideal, this being willing to be loving rather than be so committed to my own thought process and my own rightness about my own righteousness about something, that I can put this aside in order to be open up to that, to be in that more feminine, receptive type of energy. And for the but the feminine also has to open up to receive, to also to stand up, to receive something, to stand up and say, yes, this is something, but to also say yes to something. In the, yesterday's reading, the decision card came up. In that deck, that's actually the judgment card. That's making a judgment, that's making a decision. That's not the justice card, it's the judgment card. It's making a decision that this is where I want to go. And if you remember in that card, Archangel Jophiel was opening up a bird cage so that the birds could fly free. So this is being open to and being, taking a risk. again, this Cancer season, and now with Jupiter going into Leo, it's all about what are the risks that we're willing to take in order to have the things and stand up for the things that we love. Sometimes that means being open and receptive and to letting things go. The feminine can both hold as well as release. The masculine drives for something. So this is the combination of those energies. What are we willing to let go and release? What are we willing to forgive in order for something to be higher? Have we released something that, and that might be a little bit of an internal struggle, but it's just a struggle. And this is the Five of Wands. So this is, again, actions, like looking at our actions, like where our actions maybe aren't aligning with the higher ideals of the heart. Where have they not? But looking at the nice thing about Mercury in retrograde in Cancer is that we can kind of take this, like get these insights during these 3 weeks that can help us understand, like, what are the emotions and the passions that are keeping us out of, going for the things that we want. Now, the Four of Cups here doesn't necessarily, it invites us to kind of take that step back and to kind of create this assessment. When am I continuing to refuse and resist? To kind of take that look back at, like, what are the emotional if the fours are belonging, what emotions belong, what emotions don't belong? Where does my spirit belong? Does my spirit belong with this? Does it belong with that? To take the time to consider this without letting the emotions, distract you so much, but and that you're not only, it is time to take a look at to take the time to reflect on what it is we see within ourselves. But these degrees that Mercury will retrograde in Cancer are over degrees about where they are, how our emotional field, how our emotions may be, how are they affecting our, the way that we want to be showing up in the world and the way that we want to interact on a very large scale, but also on the way that we interact on the day-to-day with our day-to-day interactions with the people around us. How do are we able to actually engage, even if it's just a little bit of a struggle, to recognize that things aren't always, even though there's a lot of chaos going on here, to recognize that, there may be some, some kind of chaos, but it's a game. To make things a little more joyful, make things a little more of a practice. This is kind of practice. This is practice. This is, also, so again, it's like, where are my actions not quite aligning? And it might be causing chaos. Or where am I not willing to practice and engage? What's the work I need to do in order to get better at the things that I value, to get better at getting this kind of ideal, this being the archetype, this being the overarching theme of my life, this kind of artistry, this level of love on a very broad scale. If you're doing it on the day-to-day, if we're showing love to ourselves. So one thing I notice is that, there's only one person in this particular card. A lot of times in the Five of Wands, there's many people. This time there's a bunch of foxes, and foxes are curious. So, be curious. This is inviting curiosity about how my actions may be keeping me out of alignment, maybe actually causing chaos. But how can I align them? Let's think about things a little bit. Let's look at ourselves a little bit and think about that without it being this, this, like something that's really like more Nine of Swords kind of thing, like really, really distracting, really, really something that brings you down. With Mercury, in retrograde, it kind of gives us the ability to take this sort of emotional remove, to look at the emotions with a little more remove. And, so again, Page of Cups, messages, that's the bottom of the deck. Knight of Cups, maybe, a flood of emotion might come in over this, that you feel like an overwhelming sense of love for yourself and others. And then, the Sun, illumination. Two of Cups too. So there's a lot of love to be gained, and a lot of like I said, with this kind of introspection, we can probably get an idea about ways that we can be more loving in a way that is of that higher those higher ideals, the higher version of ourselves. And in that, then yes, then what, that's a ship that, remember the Three of Wands came in. That's a ship that's coming in that you can't put enough value on. Spiritual elevation, spiritual education, more education and more engagement with our own spirit. You can't put a price on that. That's something that's a foundation. That's an incredible foundation. And there's that groundedness that the person was, standing on the deck, standing on the dock, standing on the ground, thinking of, deciding what's going to go on this ship. What's the ship I really want to be sailing? So I also brought the Flower Therapy Oracle card deck to see if there's something from the flowers that would like our two flipped out. Yeah, when you release negativity, the answer to your question shines through. So instead of looking at what the differences are, look at like how we can, collaborate and work together. And yeah, sign from heaven, Protea, your loved ones in spirit are waving hello and giving you reassurance that you will be all right. So even people who who are no longer maybe part of our active like everyday life, they're all, again, things that have brought us to where we are. And we can look at those situations with love. Look at, and know that we are supported by, our spiritual guides, and that divinity working towards that, cleansing away the negativity of the negative ways that we're looking at things, whether they're past or present, helps us to move forward into our future in a way that feels good and brings in, Two of Cups and Lover's energy. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Again, like, share, subscribe, do your thing. You know what to do. And we'll check in tomorrow. I hope you're having a good one. Bye now.